habits are a very sticky behavior, but it is you that gives them the glue. Take more control over your vision and how you explain what you see to yourself, and habits will dissolve.
And that
So
is...
what you are doing is creating more positive aspect habits. You are not trying to leave a hole. You are working towards seeing things differently.
If we're practicing...
Regardless of how many times your past programs scream and shout at you.
If we're practicing observing and allowing, how does that tie in with control at the same time?
It is not control in the sense that you can own things. You can, that you need to have all your ducks lined up in a row. Your ducks can be bobbing around everywhere, but you are the facilitator of your thought processes, and that is where control comes in. I will take control of what it is I let move through my head. I may not feel that I can control my environment, but I can control how I see it.
Do we have free will over programs and stuff that try to interfere with that then? Can we just say no, go away?
You created your programs, that is your free will. You have free will over everything.
They seem to have their own voice.
No, that is your free will to believe that. And that is because they have just been played so many times.
Can we just
like
say...
a repeating record.
Can we just say be gone, or do we have to ignore them over time so as to not feed into that program or that energy?
You can quietly ignore them, not give them more story. You do not need to battle. It is an aspect, a fragment of your behavior that feels like a different personality or something. You can be kind and gentle, but you do not take them seriously. You do not believe them. They are old beliefs, trying to hang on to the present moment. You can do all manner of exercises, but mostly you don't give them a story. Mostly you have the feeling and you use your mind to focus on something different and work on the perspective of that something different without the need to be familiar with your negative patterns.
What are some examples of something different?
So I'm having a barrage of negative emotions, and they bring with them historical stories. This will never happen, and that will happen, and this is really bad.
Right.
And I go to the garden and I start talking to nature. And I see the wonder of nature. Or I go to the kitchen and I start cleaning up. Or I go to the living room and I find a beautiful object to look at and feel and touch.
To change the perspective?
And then I look at things as if I've seen them for the first time. Whilst all this is going on, this barrage of negative imposters, I pick up an object and it's the first time I've seen this object, and how does it make me feel? And I don't know the name of it, and I don't know where it came from. And you can keep doing this so that you reinforce the newness of reality over the history of reality.
I understand. Books
but
are
without any
that too.
fear or antagonism or aggression. Because when these voices were born, they felt necessary in that given moment. They are no longer necessary, but they have a propensity for survival. This is the miracle of the human psyche, how it can fragment itself into seemingly other personalities, though they are not. So we just change what it is we do. We do something different. We do something childlike. You bounce a ball. You do some exercise. You do some movement. But you do it differently. You do it without a need for an outcome or for knowing why you do it. When you watch a child can be in the depths of despair, screaming and crying, and in the next moment they have the ability to be giggling and laughing and playing.
I see that.
We have to remember we have that ability in us.
I see that, and I find myself sometimes inputting, well, what does it mean? What is it worth? Why bother doing it? Because it doesn't have a purpose, but the purpose is perspective.
See, negativity is the one that drives you to a purpose, therefore stopping you living in the magic of the now moment.
Is that in
There
all?
isn't a purpose
Is
per
that
se.
is that in all things in life, that negativity is what drives us to purpose?
Yes,
Everything.
it is, as we discussed, part of what you may call the matrix or
Right.
the net or the veil.
Right.
It blocks the light and it tries to bring in reason and logic where it's not necessary.
So there is no purpose.
Not as such, not in a dense historical
I mean,
way.
we have a mission, but we don't have a certain purpose we have to fill out to fulfill that mission. We're just
We're
to
not
be.
going to block the universal magic of a different outcome than we could ever have imagined by giving it a purpose that is very limited.
Right, like a specific human
And
purpose.
that's what causes a lot of unrest. And that is what causes people to do mundane things day after day after day after day. Because they're looking for and believing it is giving them some purpose. But this is from the judgment zone of good and bad. And we are leaving that behind. We have discernment. We know our preference with integrity. But we are not searching for purpose. We are the living purpose. Therefore, anything that we partake in that does not harm another is a fulfillment of our physical experience on this planet.
And if we are fully present in the moment, there's no such thing as mundane.
No, mundane is memory. Mundane is program. Mundane is density. Because it simply means we have forgotten that the whole universe, from the very beginning of life, was responsible for that now moment. We're thinking it's one now moment separate from everything else. It is connected to source. There is no mundane in source.
I understand.